Hi, I'm your host, Anand J. Sukadia, and this is the Limitless One podcast. Join me on this journey as I interview the most inspirational souls who are tapping into their limitless blueprint on a mental, physical, and spiritual level to thrive in uncertain times. If you feel you are so much more than just this body, just this life, and want to tap into your limitless potential, you're in the right place. Here we go, starseeds. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to live in absolute abundance on every level of your life? Having it all. Being financially free, having the relationship and family life of your dreams, flowing in happiness and electric health, contributing positively to the lives of thousands of people, and having the freedom to choose how you want to spend every second of your life. Today's guest is one of the most inspirational human beings I have ever met, and he's going to show us how he went from broke to millionaire and how to set up the life of your dreams. Meet Thomas Tadlock. He is the founder of SmoothieShred.com, co-founder of GoodbyeLupus.com, best-selling author of Miracle Metabolism, and corporate wellness trainer. He holds a master's degree in exercise science and health promotion and holds 8 national fitness and health certifications. He is an internationally recognized trainer educator and has authored the weight loss programs behind the hit TV show, The Biggest Loser. Together with his wife, Brooke Goldner, MD, he has helped countless clients rid themselves of autoimmune diseases with the leading disease reversal platform, perhaps on the planet. Thomas, how you doing, brother? Welcome.
Hey, that was a beautiful intro, Anand. Thanks. So I'm doing great. Oh my goodness. It's wonderful. Despite all the COVID stuff and the lockdown stuff, life couldn't be better right now.
Wonderful, brother. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been about 4 years since we last spoke. So I'm excited to get to share the story of your life with our entire audience, and then also find out what's new in your life, because I know so much has changed since we last spoke.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. What does living a limitless life mean to you?
Well, I don't know if I've given it any meaning, but I am definitely living what I would consider a limitless life. It's just like opportunities just don't seem to stop coming in. The level of happiness that I feel every single day seems to have no bounds. The amount of freedom that I have and the satisfaction that I get from just my business, what I'm doing for people as a contribution to the world, and the relationship that I have with my family. It's just unbelievable. And it feels limitless. I guess that would be the best way to ever describe it. I've never exactly thought about that question before, but I feel pretty damn blessed with everything that I've managed to create for my life.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful, inspiring story. And to understand where you are right now, let's go into your background. Tell us a little bit about, growing up, family life, and how you got to the place you are right now.
Well, I've thought about this. I remember a long time ago when I tell my business story, it started all the way back in 2009 in October, and that was the brokest that I've ever been. I was trying to really just be successful and be financially secure for my family, but I was never trained how to do it. I was a personal trainer at the time, and I remember working at a gym. I was so excited. I had a nice little gig going. There was a gym right by my house. My wife was doing her residency at Harbor UCLA. So that means she was a doctor in training, making minimum wage for a doctor. But I had a great little thing going. I had a little fitness gig, and it was kind of like my own little business. And I made a relationship with the gym. I got to train all the newbies that came in. So I had a good thing going. Well, something really, like the best thing in my life happened and the worst thing in my life happened at the same time. So we got pregnant and we had our first baby. And while I was at the hospital for a week, the owners of the gym found another trainer that was willing to work for less money than me. And so they just made a business decision. So they brought in this new trainer and they let me go. And so now we've got a new baby. My wife decided to take maternity leave without pay, and I no longer have a source of income. So this was really, really scary. I didn't know exactly what to do. I had signed a non-compete. I couldn't train in that area. I couldn't train any of those clients. So I took a shot at starting a business. And at the time, this whole concept of doing fitness boot camps was really popular. So I thought, all right, I could do this. I'm a good personal trainer. I could figure out how to do the boot camp thing. So I signed a lease with a local gymnastics center, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna crush this business. And I went out and just started calling up people that I knew and inviting them to be part of my boot camp. Well, long story short, after about 8.5 months, I was expecting to have hundreds of members that were gonna more than meet the previous income that I had and maybe exceed that. I thought I had made such a good decision because I could just maybe teach 2 classes, work 2 to 3 hours a day, and make the same as if I were a full-time personal trainer. Well, none of that happened. I was working 8 to 11 hours a day because I was trying to hustle to convince people to join my boot camp, and at the same time, pay the rent and do better. After 8.5 months of hustling, I probably had only about 14 clients. And when you're getting only $75 per client living in Orange County, California, that wasn't even enough to pay the rent. So this was bad. I was losing money pretty quickly. And Brooke still hadn't gotten paid yet. She hasn't gotten back to work. So we're in a bad situation. We had to file for unemployment. We had to file for anything we could get, disability, just to be able to survive. And it wasn't enough. We got this close to being completely wiped out in terms of our savings, which meant that we weren't going to be able to pay rent soon. We were going to be in big trouble if I didn't do something quickly. So that's when I finally went to a business success seminar for the first time in my life. And, you know, if you've ever been to one of those before, I know you have, because that's where we met, at one of those. You go there, you learn some stuff, but they say basically, if you want to learn the real stuff, to learn how to really be successful and get rich, you're going to have to buy the big program that costs 5 figures, right? Well, it was the craziest decision I ever made because I had no money. So why would I do something like that? But I signed up for it. I did. I bought the whole damn thing. And luckily for me, I was actually able to use the information I was being taught and make it work. So everything that was being taught to me was legit. I put it all into practice. And within 2 years, I became really good at business, at marketing, at investing, managing myself, managing my time, being less of a pussy when it came to hustling and business. And in 2 years, I turned my entire bootcamp business around. I went from 14 members to over 1,500 members, and I expanded to multiple locations. I had 6 locations, and I became, at the time, one of the largest indoor fitness boot camps in Orange County. And so shortly after that, I was able to sell the business because we wanted freedom now. And if I sold my business, well, I also learned how to invest. So if I sold the business, I could take the profits. I knew exactly how to invest that in a number of different things, including real estate. And I could just literally keep making the same amount of money, but without having to have a boot camp business. So that's what I did. Sold the business, put the money into investments. And that's when I purchased a bunch of real estate. I launched my real estate business out of Austin, Texas. That was a good move because that was late 2011 when the market there was at the absolute bottom. And I started buying and flipping houses. I turned my fitness business into an online business. I used the same skills to help my wife she had a psychiatric practice. I turned that into an online business. And then we eventually turned that into an online disease reversal business. And basically taking what we did there way back in 2012, we were able to scale that to what it is today. We have a multi-million-dollar business combined with all the different streams of income that we have today.
Wow. That's incredible. And I know we were just talking earlier before the show started, and you said that when we first met, you were in one position where you were able to sell your practice, working in actively all your time, effort going into these boot camps, sold that, and then went into more passive streams. So it kind of just freed up your time. And then where you are now, 4 or 5 years later, tell us a little bit about the transition and, share the amount. Yeah.
So when I first, so again, a lot of this I learned while I was taking these courses. So I had never really heard of passive income until I started taking business courses. And I remember one of the courses I took was talking about how to create your own passive income streams with digital information products. I thought that is so smart, because I teach people how to get fit every single day. Why don't I just turn that into education that is digital and that people can consume? So that's what I started doing. I started digitizing my workouts, creating little fat loss programs, muscle building programs, and turning them into video courses and online electronic PDFs, and put them up for sale, and people started buying them. And so right out the gate, my very first information product started earning me an extra $500 to $1,000 every single month. I still have that product. It's still actually making me money. But I thought this is amazing, because I thought about when I was at the worst, when I was doing the worst of my boot camp. Well, that was how much money I was making when I was hustling and begging people to join my boot camp every single day. Meanwhile, I create a little information product that I put zero time into once I put it up on a website, and it's generating the same amount of money for me each month. I'm like, why don't I just do more of that? So that was my first taste of passive income. So I started creating lots of different digital information products, got a lot better at doing that, started helping my wife doing the same thing. And that led to like going into books to increase our cash flow coming in from passive income through digital products. And then I started getting into real estate. So another thing that I learned in these business courses and investing courses was how to invest in real estate. The problem was I didn't exactly have the money or know how to get access to the money that I needed to start investing in real estate. Well, once I started doing really well with my bootcamp business, I started saving a lot more money, and suddenly I had my own capital and I had the funds to start investing. So I remember buying 3 homes in 3 months while I was living in a small little 700 square foot piece of crap apartment in Southern California. I bought 3 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses in the Austin, Texas area, right at the absolute bottom of their real estate market. Best real estate moves I've ever made. And I bought those houses and I rented out 2 of them. I renovated and got them ready to be rented out, found renters immediately. The profit that I was making from those 2 houses paid for the mortgage on the 3rd house. And so what we eventually did was, since we've got a house that's literally being paid for, let's just move into that house. So that's when we moved from Southern California to Austin, Texas. And now we're living basically rent or housing cost free, because we've got 2 passive income streams paying for the 3rd one. So that was how it all started. And what was great is the process that I used to acquire those 3 houses, I just kept doing that. So that's what helped me go from just having a small little portfolio of houses to a multi-million-dollar portfolio of houses.
Wow. Wow. So inspirational. And, you mentioned your wife a couple of times, and just knowing you, I know how much she means to you. And, when you find this type of relationship in life, it really changes the dynamic and your destiny. Can you tell us a little bit about how you guys met and, how you guys grew through the years together?
Sure. Brooke went to the same college that I did. We both went to Carnegie Mellon University. I remember seeing Brooke. I couldn't help but notice her. She was just beautiful. And I remember in college, she dated someone that was at our next door neighbor's fraternity. And so she would sometimes cross our lawn at our fraternity house, and I'd admire her every single day as she did that. But we didn't really talk much. We weren't friends. I knew her because she happened to also be the woman that I dated. It was her. She was in the same sorority as her. So that's how we knew of each other. But it wasn't until after college that we were at a bar randomly. It's like a Thursday night. I never went out. I was a personal trainer at the time. And so I stayed totally clean all the time, but a friend really needed some company. So I went to meet him out. And then she happened to be out at the same bar on a date with somebody that didn't work out. And we saw each other and she said, "Hey, don't I know you from somewhere?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know you because I dated your sorority sister." And we sat down, started chatting. And all I remember is we just chatted for the rest of the night, laughing and just reminiscing and telling stories. And I thought she was the coolest person I ever met in my life. And that's what sparked a really intense friendship, which turned into the most amazing relationship of my life. It was very clear just after a few weeks that this woman was my soulmate, hands down. She felt the same way about me. And ever since then, we have been glued together, spending every minute we possibly can. We have 2 kids now. We live in Houston together now. And to this day, we've designed our lives so both of our businesses are at home, and we can maximize the amount of time that we spend with each other. We're so happy spending all of our time together. How we've grown, a lot of people ask us this, they ask us advice like, how do you keep the relationship on a high level? How do you keep the fun going? How do you keep the love? And for us, it actually hasn't taken any effort. And the only way I can describe it is, when I met Brooke, I was a whole person myself. When I compare my relationship with Brooke versus my relationship with anybody else, I wasn't exactly a whole person. I was still insecure. I still had areas and aspects of my life that it was really broken. And when I was in a relationship, I was kind of choosing people and attracting people that kind of saw those weaknesses in me. And I saw how they could fulfill those areas in me, and kind of created these relationships where I was a little bit dependent on them. And after being in a long, bad relationship, I broke free of that and decided, you know what, I'm going to just work on me and what I want. And I'm not going to do the relationship thing, maybe for a long time. And so I focused on what fulfilled me, what I wanted out of life. And that was just working on my business, doing a job, which was personal training, which I got so much fulfillment, helping people achieve their dreams and goals, and really focusing on the love of my friendships and my family. And I got so involved with that. I wasn't dating anybody. I was totally single, but I was so fulfilled that I remember being so happy that I told a friend, I said, I could just die today. I'm just so happy. I could die today with no regrets, not needing to marry anybody, not needing to have anybody. Like, I have so much happiness with the quality of my friendships and my family. I was able to talk to my family every single day. And then my business, I was feeling very successful, even though I wasn't making a lot of money. I was just so successful. I had my own business. I was helping people. It just felt amazing. Brooke was in the same boat. It was in a very similar boat. She had just got accepted to the residency of her dreams. She's a medical doctor. It was a dream that she's always had. And all she wanted out of life was just happiness and fulfillment. And she had achieved all those things. So 2 whole people coming together meant that our relationship needed nothing from the other person. There was nothing I needed from her. There was nothing she needed from me. So all we did was add value to each other's lives, but not in a way that was needed. And so we grew a beautiful relationship from that, because we really didn't need anything from the other. So it's just been pure bliss and happiness. And it really has been effortless.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And the way you guys interact is everyone in the room can see it. There's so much love every time you guys look at each other's eyes. I've seen you guys on stage together. I've seen you personally when we're at dinner or whatever. But it's incredible. But I know you guys went through a challenge in terms of a health problem that she was going through. Can you share a little bit about the story with that?
Yeah, that's our famous story.
Yeah.
We've been featured in documentaries over this story. When Brooke and I fell in love, I remember it was fast. It went really quickly. 3 weeks into the relationship, we looked at each other deep in our eyes and said, I'm just madly in love with you. We gotta keep this going. I said, you're absolutely right. We can't let this end. This is just too wonderful. So let's talk about getting married. And she hesitated there, and she said, are you sure you want to marry me? I said, what do you mean? And she said, I haven't really brought this up with you, but I need to let you know that I have a disease, and it's called lupus. And it's a really terrible disease. It means that I'm 28 now, probably by my late 30s, early 40s tops, I'm probably going to be dead. I'll never be able to have your children, because if I get pregnant, the pregnancies and childbirth usually kill people that have my disease, and they usually take out the baby with it. And way before my late 30s, I'm going to be physically disabled. This disease is going to attack my body in a way that's going to make it difficult, if not impossible, for me to move. And if you marry me, you're going to be the one having to take care of me. I almost thought it was so outrageous to me. I never heard of this disease before, but the fact that I meet the love of my life, my soulmate, and I find out that she's going to just start getting destroyed physically and be dead. I only have like 10 years with her, and then she's going to be gone. I thought this was just the cruelest joke the universe has ever played on me. And I was devastated inside. My heart just shattered. And I remember just kind of pausing and being in a mental state of limbo right there, going, what the hell is going on right now? You know, what a lot of people don't know about me is I had a best friend that died of testicular cancer. And he died just a few years before I met Brooke. And it was a very similar situation where it was just my buddy that saw me and knew me inside and out. And I'd never felt more safe with anybody. And we had so many plans to do so many things together. And then I remember getting a call one day with him informing that he's got testicular cancer, and he was going to beat it, and it was going to be fine. He was getting chemotherapy and all that stuff. And then a couple of weeks later, I get an email saying that he's no longer with us. And it killed me inside. And I felt this was happening all over again. Again, my favorite person in the world. And now I find out I'm going to lose her. Well, I felt so much anger, but I said, I don't care. I would rather live a short life with Brooke than a lifetime with anybody else. And if it's going to be a short life, it's going to be the best life she's ever had. And so I said, all right, I want to marry you. Let's get married, and let's just make it the best life we possibly can. And she was like shocked. She couldn't believe it. You know, her dream was to always wear a white coat, but she never thought that she'd ever be able to wear a white dress because of this disease. Who would want to marry someone with lupus? But I was so in love with Brooke. You meet Brooke, you'll understand why. She's absolutely amazing. Greatest person I've ever known. So we got married, and she said, all right, since you're Mr. Fitness guy, I want to get in the best shape of my life. Now, Brooke was a vegetarian, and I had never worked with a vegetarian before. I would usually just put people on my standard get ripped quick diet and workout plan. So I put Brooke through my workout plan. So it was high intense training, 1 to 1.5 hours every single day. And the nutrition plan kind of resembles like modern day paleo, but she's vegetarian. So I had to get rid of all of the animal-based proteins. So we switched that with plant sources like soybeans, tofu, so on and so forth. And here's what happened. After about 90 days, Brooke got in the most insane shape of her life. She was ripped. She was lean. She was strong. She had never been more fit in her life. Looked amazing for all of our Hawaii wedding photos. We get back to the mainland in Southern California. She gets her like blood work done with a new set of doctors because we moved from Pittsburgh to California. And the lab work comes up negative for lupus. Like, what? Now, lupus, according to Western medicine, is an incurable disease. So for the lab work to show there's no trace or evidence of lupus would only mean that the lab must have messed up. They must have got her blood mixed with somebody else's, or they must have like accidentally put her name on somebody else's test results. You know, that's the only conclusion that any of the doctors could come up with. It made sense, right? Can't cure this disease. So why would it show? And she definitely had lupus. She was diagnosed with lupus at a very young age when she was a child, had to go through 2 years of aggressive chemotherapy just to put her immune system into remission, to put her immune system into a weakened state so that this disease could go into a form of remission. But she had to shoot herself with these medications every day just to keep blood clots from forming in her brain. Well, So what they did was they said, okay, we need to order you another set of labs so we can get this done. And so she did. A month later, she got a new set of blood work. The results came in totally negative for lupus. In fact, the doctor's like, your blood work is showing zero trace of lupus. Your health looks like the health of an elite athlete. I have no idea why you're even here. They're like, what's going on? So she didn't have it anymore. Long story short, we realized we have a gift on our hands. This lupus is gone. We were able to have 2 children that was supposed to bring the lupus back and kill her. None of that happened. Our kids have been healthy. Brooke's never been healthier. And so we realized this is amazing. We got to figure out what we did, because it wasn't just a miracle. There was something we did to create this. And it happened to be the diet that I had kind of created for her. It happened to be the most anti-inflammatory diet you could put somebody on. We had to spend over 1.5 years reverse engineering it to figure out that that's what was going on. So what Brooke and I did was we decided we got to give this gift to the world. So I used my business training skills to turn this into a product that people can consume and learn. So, we made books, we made digital products, we made coaching programs, and we started testing it out on people with lupus, and holy crap, it started reversing their lupus. We partnered with the Lupus Foundation, and we started reversing their members' lupus. And it was just unheard of. Nobody had ever done anything like this before. So this is where we birthed this beautiful, amazing disease reversal business out of this. So we created a best-selling book, we featured in documentaries, and we decided to build a business model where when we decided, look, we've got lives at stake here. So what we're going to do is we're going to design this in a way where we're going to give the information away 100% for free. So we created a protocol, put our name on the protocol, and gave it away to the general public. And thousands of people have been able to reverse their autoimmune disease using our protocol without having to pay us a dime. The only thing we'll charge for is, like, if you try to use the protocol yourself and you can't figure out how to do it right, maybe you need some additional coaching. So we charge for coaching and support, and that by itself has turned into a 7-figure a year business. Wow. So that's our love story from beginning to where it is now.
Wow, dude. That just shows, for me, it's the power of love where everything is possible. Just the power of love and belief, right? When a doctor tells somebody you have this is your diagnosis. And then if somebody has a little bit of belief, or they have something to look forward to, whether it's love, whether it's something moving forward, a new career, you can automatically find a solution for everything, as long as you don't give up and, not listening to people's limiting beliefs on you that they're projecting. So it's so beautiful to hear that story. And every time I hear it, tears come to my eyes. But also when I heard it years ago, it just inspired me so much, because I knew what I wanted to do in my life in terms of creating a wellness center and whatnot. But after hearing that story, I was like, okay, what is my excuse for not moving forward and trying to make this a reality? I was like, okay, one day when I have the money, when I have the resources, when I have the team. But, that along with a few other realizations that came to me, it really put everything in perspective. And hey, people that you've talked to years ago are still talking to you and telling you, hey, how much of an impact you've had on my life. Same with me. When I first opened my business, people will reach out to me today saying, that conversation I had with you, that one advice you gave me. I tell people about the smoothie shred all the time. And, going through your program, it helped me in so many ways. I had a lot of issues, skin issues, eczema. I had a lot of dark circles under my eyes. I felt lethargic all the time. And to this day, ever since meeting you, I still do the smoothies every single day. It's religious for me. And, it's who would have thought food is medicine, right? So when you put in the right things into your body, get it into right alignment, then, our life force, our energy is going to be abundant.
Yeah. Well, I want to also bring up a couple things. So when the doctors told her that she wasn't going to live, it wasn't like we were saying, screw you, doctors, I don't believe what you're saying. No, we were totally believing what they were saying. I mean, Brooke herself went to med school. She's a medical doctor. So yeah. She trusts Western medicine. In fact, Western medicine is what saved her life. When she originally got full-blown lupus, it started attacking her kidneys. I mean, she was in full-blown kidney failure. So the treatments that she received saved her life, but it didn't heal the disease. But it basically kept her alive. And she's so grateful for that. But what it did was, so instead of denying the information we were given or the opinions we were given from the doctors, we just went all in with taking as much value from the advice as possible. So we were basically told, look, Brooke's got a very short period to live. Okay. So how do we react? We said, okay, well, if it's going to be a short life, we got to make this the highest quality life possible. We got to live to our fullest. So Brooke and I, we went on the most amazing adventures together. We overspent all the money we made, which was very little, but we did it for the sake of having experiences and memories. So what it did for us was it taught us how to really treasure life and live it to its fullest with whatever money or no money that we had. We were so poor when we got together. I mean, you know, there was a period of life where it was really scary. I had a boot camp business that failed. I had a personal training business that failed for a while. She was making no income. But what we had and what we had kind of like the idea that she was going to be dead soon, what that trained us to do was to take whatever we've got and make the most of it. So that was where we started before we built all of our wealth and our money and our lives together, is that we always are living from that state of being so happy and fulfilled with nothing. And so with all of this abundance and freedom and money and stuff like that, it's just gravy and bonus, which just amplifies our level of happiness. But what I see so many people doing is that they don't live as if they're on this planet for a short period of time. They live like they've got all the time in the world and they don't really have to go after their dreams anytime soon. They're going to somehow have all the time of eternity to be able to do that. Well, we didn't do that. So a lot of people are suffering from dissatisfaction. They're suffering from not being happy, and money doesn't solve those problems. You got to learn how to be happy with nothing, like really, truly fulfilled and happy with nothing, so that when you do have the money, it makes it amazing.
Yeah, so true. And you hear the opposite story so many times where, you know, somebody's not happy, they get a lot of money and they have even more problems, right? Or get into bad relationships, or, you know, lose all their money, spend it on things that are outside of themselves rather than focusing on inward. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that we went through in self-development, a lot of stuff that you teach in your training courses is all about that internal happiness plus the physical, you know, good health. And then you can grow from there in abundance. So let's move into a little bit about, you know, you becoming a trainer, an educator for all things in life, the whole circle of life. You kind of like encompass in your teachings. Tell us a little bit about how you became a trainer, and then also like where you are now with it.
All right. So when I was deep into all of these business courses, I implemented everything I learned the minute that I learned it. So I wasted no time. Again, like being married to a woman that I was going to have a short life with, what that trained me to do is to not waste any time going after your dreams, 0 time. So the moment I learned something that was going to solve a problem for me, a business problem, a money problem, I went all in implementing it right away. And so I did that, and holy crap, I got results really quickly. I started really increasing my success in my business. And it took exactly 25 months for me to go from totally broke to being completely financially free and being able to just retire from my business. So 25 months, right? So I was asked to be a trainer because I was basically now a poster child of all of these business courses. So the company that put on all these courses were like, "Hey, Thomas, you're like a poster child for us. Would you mind teaching our courses? Because they think you'd just be a perfect trainer. You went through the program, you succeeded in it, and you're like a living example." I said, "Hell yeah, I'll do it." So that's how it all started. And so they put me through training. It took 3 years for me to kind of earn the right to be able to train on stage and teach their courses. But it was the most satisfying work that I had ever done. So I had this healing business, which was so fulfilling and gratifying, but I made Brooke the face of that. It makes more sense for Brooke to be the face of that business as a patient who became a doctor, who is now the person teaching it. That just makes more sense versus, the random husband, personal trainer that accidentally created this diet protocol. It was less appealing. So I made Brooke the face of that business. And what I did was I started teaching people how to create financial freedom. That was so much more satisfying because that was my personal pain too. Being broke is the scariest thing. Besides inevitably losing your spouse, being broke to the point where like I had to worry if my family was going to be homeless soon. That was terrifying to me. And I wanted to help people either avoid that or pull them out of that situation if they were in it. And that was amazing. So I started teaching success principles and wealth principles, started teaching investing and business. And I loved it so much that I took every opportunity that they gave me. And they had a lot of opportunities. They were doing a gig in some city in the United States every week to 2 weeks. So I did that all the way up until the COVID lockdowns.
Beautiful. And what's so telling about that is like you had the freedom to do that. If you were involved in other businesses, actively doing these things rather than passive income streams, real estate investing, you would not have had the opportunity to go out and really influence more lives. So getting to that place of becoming financially free, you can only teach like that if you become it. So you're a living example.
That was so fun. I'm telling you, and it was just so funny. And just so you know, it paid squat. I mean, it was so the amount that you got for pay is so low, but I didn't care. I just loved being able to teach this to people because what would happen is I teach them something and I could just see that, oh my God, what you just taught me was the missing piece in my head that I needed that has been holding me back in my business. Because I used to be that person where like, I just didn't know how to be successful in business. And then I would learn a few key techniques, methods, or principles that were like, oh, mind blowing. And I was able to implement the very next day and make more money and get results. I wanted to be the person to do that for the people sitting in the chair. So it didn't matter to me what I got paid. All I cared was like, as long as it doesn't cost me money and it doesn't inconvenience me too much, then I am all game. I could do this all day long. And so that's what I did. It was really, really addicting for me. And it was gratifying for me because I really felt like I was making a difference to help people with something that I really struggled with.
Yeah, beautiful. And you've accomplished so much. And how old are you? Like early 40s, right?
No, man. Shoot. Somebody asked me how old I was the other day. I want to say I'm 44. I think I'm 44.
So that's early 40s.
76. What is that? 1976. Am I 44? Am I 45? No, I'm going to be 45 in September.
Wow.
So
okay. Well, you look like you're 30. But
I tried it. Oh, man.
It takes a lifetime to achieve what you've achieved. Now, knowing everything you've gone through, experiencing all of it, and having the success, what's next for you? What are you planning on doing with the second half of your life?
Well, recently, Anand, I took kind of an inventory of where I was in my business and my net worth, all that stuff, right? So I've been pretty pedal to the metal for some time, especially during the lockdown, because I had to do a lot of shifts during the lockdowns. I have several businesses. I have a real estate investing business. We have a online fitness business. We have an online disease reversal business. So I've been going all in on trying to build up the businesses that really had the opportunity to thrive during the lockdowns and the shutdowns, because, this isn't like what's going on with COVID is unprecedented. It's hard to know or predict what's going to happen to the world economies. A lot of things have kind of changed and shifted against what everybody predicted was going to happen. So, I needed to really kind of bulletproof my life because I had done really well, but I wanted to make sure I continued doing well, even during a pandemic. So I've been focusing really building our online businesses and they've skyrocketed in terms of success. Real estate has taken a weird turn. So what I did, I was thinking real estate was going to have this big crash. So I just went into liquidation mode. I mean, we've been in a seller's market. I said, you know what? I can't lose if I sell off everything. And then if there's a crash, I just rebuy everything I want to snatch up for pennies on the dollar. So things have been kind of shifting around, but but once I kind of got to the tail end of that, I looked at how well I'm doing. I realized, you know what, I can I could pretty much cruise all the way until the end right now. Yeah. And so I've been kind of taking it easy. I don't really have any big aspirations other than just to keep what I've got going, because I've got a really good thing going. I've got several millions in assets. We're 7-figure a year earners. We're in the top 1% of earners in the country. It's just, life is really, really good right now. We're closing on our dream home. It's just, things are just fantastic. I feel blessed. I love what's going on. I don't have any dying desire to do more. But here's what's great. The way I've set everything up is that I'm going to get more whether I like it or not. Yeah. So I've set up all of my businesses in a way where I can't stop it from growing. So life is just fantastic. What I have to say, kind of what's coming to me is all of the hard work that I've put in over the past 8.5 to 10 years, all of it is coming to fruition. That means I planted seeds deep into the ground many years ago, and we have just been able to harvest big time.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to hear. And the fact that you've done everything that you've done and are so happy with where you are, and not like saying, oh, I need to become like 100 millionaire or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, that'll come if you continue doing the things that you're doing. And a lot of people, I think everybody has to work hard these days, right? And you could either work hard 30 years, 40 years at a job and then just be over broke, after paying taxes and paying all your expenses, or you can invest for the future. And it's investing in your relationships, investing in your health, and investing in financial streams, passive income streams. And you show everybody this is a way to do it. And you're showing people that you don't have to slave away at something. And, in your mid-40s, you can get to a place where you're very satisfied. Everything is running kind of on auto mode. You get to spend more time with your kids, more time with your wife, and now create from the heart rather than creating from scarcity. Oh, I need to make this money in order to pay for my lifestyle.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I did really early on. I'm so glad that I did it. One of the biggest things that I've always sought, I think the primary driver for wanting to build a business and have a successful business had really not much to do with having lots of wealth. Really what it was for me was just security. That was all I wanted. Once I used to think that the path to security was get a really good job, and you just basically go up the corporate ladder, and you just progressively increase your income, but you do it in a nice, secure way where it's virtually guaranteed, right? It wasn't until I had a job as a personal trainer, which that was what my path was. I was making a little more every single year. I was becoming more and more of an asset to the company, and I was climbing it up, and I was going from making just 5 figures. Eventually I was going to make 6 figures, which to me was the most money I've ever even heard of making in my life. So I was more than thrilled with that. It afforded me a really great lifestyle, but I got laid off and fired because the company itself went under. And that shattered my dreams of using a nice corporate job to give me the security that I needed, because I realized, my goodness, this was a big company. This is a big fitness company, and they went under. I thought, wow, nobody is immune to bad economic conditions. Like, just because you have a job doesn't mean you can't lose it. And that scared me. So that shifted my whole perspective. And I thought, wow, I can't rely on another company to give me that security that I want. I have to create it myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I've structured my businesses the way they are. I have so many different streams of a lot of income where I have it set up where any one stream can literally pay for my entire lifestyle for the rest of my life. So I have such a large moat of safety and security for myself. But another thing that I did was I realized, another way to feel really secure was if I reduced my expenses super low, that makes me even more secure automatically, because it costs so little for me to live a decent and happy lifestyle. So I did those two things. I focused on being really happy with very, very little money. And then I focused on just creating as many different income streams as I possibly could and building those up so that they themselves are really nice, big income streams.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago when I heard one of your talks with Brooke, you guys were like, yeah, we lived on $50,000 a year, 2 kids in an apartment in Orange County, one of the most expensive areas in the world, and we were happy. And anytime we need to go back to that, if we do go back to that, we'll still be happy.
It's true, dude. I wrote it all out right here. I was like, I had to kind of take another inventory of that. And that's true. I remember before I kind of took a good look at how to get my finances in order and how to build my business right, our monthly expenses came out to just under $8K a month. That's a lot. And that's pretty much what we were making after taxes. So there was no surplus money every month. So I made a big change and we slashed our expenses in half. So I remember the first run through all of that, we got to the point where Brooke, me, and we had 2 children could live happily off of $3,890 per month. That amount of income, like we do multiple times that with just our book sales from Amazon alone. Our Amazon books could sustain our lifestyle perpetually for the rest of our lives if we wanted to. My real estate rental income pays for that many times over. So, just 2 streams of income completely pays for that baseline of lifestyle. But I didn't stop there because I realized, my gosh, I can figure out more ways to eliminate or reduce expenses without a reduction in lifestyle. And so when we moved to Austin, that's when I did the little trick with the houses, buy 3 houses, live in one of them. That's the same strategy that people take when they get a duplex, and they rent out one half the duplex and then live in the other. It's the same strategy. It's just the 3 different units instead
and thinking a little bit bigger than just buying the one
big one. It's the same thing. So I got 2 houses that are paying for the third. So that wiped out our living expenses. So when we moved to Austin, it was great. Then our monthly expenses came out to $2,400 a month, man. Can you imagine? Living like all you needed to do was somehow pull together $2,400 a month and live very happily and very comfortably. So when I started doing that, here's what happened. So now we're in Austin making living off of only $2,400 a month. Well, here's what happened. Our income skyrocketed as a result of that. There was no more pressure, first of all, to have to make a ton of money. Like for some reason, just taking the pressure off of our shoulders of having to make a lot of money, like before when we lived in California, the first time we had to somehow have to figure out how to come up with $8,000 a month. That was a lot of pressure versus only having to come up with $2,400 a month. Oh, the pressure's gone, right? Well, we went from making at the lowest, so when we lost everything, I had to kind of rebuild back. We got to a comfortable state at $5,000 a month. So we were making $5,000 a month. It was costing just under $4,000 a month to do that. I was in California. Well, we went from $5,000 to about $15,000 a month. And then we moved to Austin, reduced our expenses down to $2,400 a month. And so that's what took us from $15,000 coming in a month to over $30,000 a month, still only living off of $2,400 a month. So this is the key to what's made us very, very wealthy. When we were bringing in $30,000 a month, we were only spending $2,400 a month. So now we had like over $25,000 coming in every month. That was just surplus money. I could use it for anything I wanted. So what I did was I aggressively invested every dime of that. So I put it into stocks. I used it to buy more real estate. I got to the point when I was buying like 5 to 10 properties a month because I just had the money. I literally had the cash, and it was great because I could invest it. And I knew in 30 days, all of it's coming right back. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people, what they do is they spend all their lives, they save like one little pile of money. And when they invest it their setup means it's not going to be rebuilt. It's gone if they invest it. If they lose, they're wiped out. Whereas I'm investing an amount of money that is getting replenished the very next month. And these amounts started getting bigger and bigger. We moved to Houston. We went from 30K to 50K, and then from 50K to over six figures every single month. So the size of my investments got bigger, which meant the size of my rewards and the payoffs got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I learned how to invest in a way where no matter what I invested in, my risk was always teeny tiny. So it was very difficult for me to lose. And if I ever did lose, which I've had some losing investments, my total loss was very, very small, very, very small. Like we're talking 1% at the most every now and again on whatever I put into it. So my risk was always small. My rewards were always really big. And I kept multiplying the size of my investments. So that's what took me, by the time we moved to Texas, where my net worth was just right around, I don't know, 50 grand or so, when you pay off all of the mortgages versus all the money, like maybe 50 grand net worth, to millions and millions and millions of net worth just from that little strategy alone. So keep your expenses low and invest every single dime of all of your monthly surplus aggressively.
Wow. And you're teaching people how to do this, right, Thomas?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think it's such an easy concept to get. It doesn't require a course to teach it. Just get your expenses down to next to nothing, eat crap for a couple years, knowing that you're doing that. So you've got the money to invest to create the life of your dreams. So, what's really interesting is, you ever see rich people and judge them like, oh man, they just spent multiple six figures on a car. Why? That's so irresponsible, right? I used to think that. I'd see someone driving like a $200,000 car going, what an idiot. In my mind, I'm thinking all they had was $200,000 and they blew it on the car. When I started to get to know rich people, I realized that $200,000 for them is actually less than the $2,000 that I put as a down payment on a piece of crap car. The 200K is like a drop in the bucket for them. And it wasn't until I had wealth myself that I realized, oh my gosh, that's what they've been doing all along. That you can buy really nice things and feel fine about it when it is just an insignificant amount of money to you anymore. And who the hell would ever think that 200K was an insignificant amount of money? Well, when you're generating that every month to every 2 months, it actually is an insignificant amount of money, right?
Yeah, 100%, dude. So tell us a little bit about, the trainings that you have. I know you have the Facebook group, Learn from Thomas Tadlock, on some of the types of things that you're teaching.
Well, so I've been, ever since the lockdown, I haven't been able to go and do a training. I've been able to teach a seminar or give a talk anywhere. So during the COVID lockdown, I was going crazy because I didn't realize how much I needed to keep doing that in my life.
Yeah, it's
so
in your
I
blood.
decided for fun, I'm going to start a Facebook group.
Yeah.
And I just started recording trainings on topics of investing in business, like teaching people skills that I would normally teach and that people would pay like $3,000 for a ticket to come learn. I just started recording them myself and putting them up for free in my private Facebook group, just as a way so I could kind of get some semblance of what it's like to be able to teach and train again. So I started doing that. I created a Facebook group called Learn from Thomas Tadlock, made it 100% free, and put all my trainings in there. So got over 1,000 people in it right now. And I'm doing it for nothing other than just fun. It's fun for me to be able to do that. And all I want is for people to learn that stuff that I use to grow my businesses. I want them to learn that and grow theirs. And the happiest thing they can do for me is just simply watch the trainings, implement it, and then tell me how kick-ass it was for them and how it made a difference in their lives. That's it. So yeah, it's on Facebook. You can go to thomastadlock.com and get a link to it, or you just find it on Facebook. And like I said, there's no money being charged for it. Every now and again, I get people that say, hey, Thomas, okay, I need your help. What I'm really good at, because this is all I've done my entire life, is take people from scratch, because this is what I did for myself, scratch to creating a profitable business. I'm really good at that, especially in this day and age where knowing how to do branding and marketing right away and how to produce and deliver results, super essential to help coach people how to do that. So in those cases where my time is 100% laser focused on you, you have to pay me for that. And the same with like investing. I love teaching people how to invest in the stock market. I mean, COVID has created an insane opportunity to really increase your wealth and net worth just through the stock market alone. So I give people coaching on how to invest in the stock market, and I include the course from my mentor who taught me how to do it in it as well. So people pay me for those things, and I help them with their businesses and investing.
Amazing. Thomas, I want to thank you so much for coming on, dude. You live from such a place of abundance and heart opening, and you're sharing all your gifts with the world without expecting anything in return. And based on that, so much more abundance is coming into your life. So you're creating this like whirlwind of just financial freedom.
Don't make me out to be some like a saint or someone who's out there for the best. Believe it or not, it might appear that I'm doing it for the greater good of the world and asking for nothing in return, but that's not the truth. I am getting a lot in return for it. Number one, like I'm getting a need fulfilled. I need to be able to teach this stuff because it's like part of my heart. Like whenever anybody starts talking about business, I always feel compelled to jump into the conversation, and I almost feel responsible to make sure that everybody is given the best techniques, or everybody doesn't leave the conversation without like some gold that can make them an extra 5 or 6 figures. Like I feel responsible. I need to do that. But the second thing is I am charging for my time. Yeah. So when people hire me or work for me, they're paying for it, and they're actually paying a lot for the time, for the information that I'm giving. But I love doing it. It's so much fun for me. And I'm so good at it because I've done it for myself over and over again several times. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that I'm some sort of saint. I am not. I'm doing all of this for selfish reasons. Yeah. I'm creating these trainings for me, not for you, kind of. Yeah. I just like I need you to do my training and make a lot of money from it. And believe it or not, that is like that. I get off on that. Like yeah. that tickles me. I get a kick out of it. And so you're fulfilling me just as much as I might be fulfilling you.
Absolutely. You recently made a post on a very interesting topic. It's on mentorship and finding the right mentors. And you said something about like $500 clients. And then there's this whole like email that this person wrote to you, and then $5,000 client. Here's the money. Thanks. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. So I'm on Instagram a lot. I connect with a lot of people that are in the business and success world, and somebody put up a post showing a text message comparing the difference between a client who paid $500 for a program versus a client who's being charged $5,000 for it, right? So the $500 one wrote this whole paragraph about like how I feel like you need to satisfy my sense of security because of this potential risk that I'm taking with you. I'm entrusting my $500 with you, right? There's what appears to be a lot of drama versus the $5,000 client is like, here, give me the wiring instructions. That's it. I don't care, right? And everybody was like, yeah, screw the $500 client. They're all drama. And I actually disagreed with that post. I was like, screw you guys, because I used to be before I became a $5,000 client, I had to become a $500 client. So I completely relate and empathize with the $500 client, because when I remember like paying around $500 for a program. And at the time it was all the money I had. It was a huge amount of money for me. And so I had never done anything like that before, because if $500 is the most I ever paid for an education program, what that means is I haven't had the experience of doing a lot of education. So I really don't know what to expect. And it's a very scary investment, because at the time I'd never put $500 towards anything in my life. I mean, that was more than my car payment. That was about what my, in some cases my rent was. That was a lot of money, right? Once I got to the 5,000 mark, well, at that point, yeah, because I mean, $5,000 is actually a smaller amount of money to me at that level than $500 was to me. So my response to all of that was, have some compassion for crying out loud. I mean, I don't know about the person who wrote that post, but like, God, don't you remember what it was like to
Everybody
be
started
a
out that
$500
way.
client where you're young or you're vulnerable. You don't know the lay of the land and you're afraid of getting screwed over because it took a lot of effort to make that extra $500. So I wanted to just express my compassion, and that a lot of people need to just exercise more compassion towards people that that aren't used to paying a lot of money for coaching and education, or especially people that have maybe had the experience of getting screwed by others. There's a lot of scams. I mean, I've been scammed for way more than $500, $8,000 in one case, $11,000 in another. But it just came with the experience of doing that. But I don't even know what would happen if my very first experience, even at $500, turned out to be a scam. I would probably just think all education and coaching were scams and that I would never, ever do it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do it, I would never be where I am today. So my advice to anybody who agrees with the person who thinks you should just screw the $500 client and only go after 5,000 ones is have some compassion. Create some bulletproof programs at the $500 level so that, give yourself an opportunity to really step up for the little guy so you can turn them into the big guy that can eventually afford your $5,000 program.
100%. It takes a lot of courage to do any kind of self-development work, to really put yourself out there, recognize that you don't have what you want in life, and then to expand and to evolve into something better, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones and the people around you. Thomas, let's
look at just be on, like, have the little guys back. Is what I'm saying. I see so many internet gurus where like they start from nothing, they become something, and then suddenly it's like they resent where they started from. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Where you started from is what made you into who you are today. You got to respect that.
Yeah.
So I think if you're on a much higher level in life, go ahead and invest a little bit of time and effort to reach down and help pull others up.
Yeah, definitely. Don't make it about ego, make it about service to other people, because the more people that are, become financially free, the more people that are more evolved, and the whole world becomes a better place when everybody's living from abundance rather than living from, I just got to pay my bills and I'm stressed out about it. Awesome, brother. Yeah, I really want to thank you for coming on. I have a last couple of questions. How can we learn more about you?
Probably the easiest thing to do is you go to thomastadlock.com, my first and last name.com. And from there, you can find my different websites. You can find my Facebook group from there and learn a little bit about me.
Wonderful, dude. We learned so much from this conversation. I really want to thank you for coming on. I know you're a very in-demand person, so it's a pleasure having you on, brother.
I'm trying to be. Lockdown has made me feel very lonely, so I'm getting up there now, finally.
Awesome, man. Tell Brooke and the kids I said hello, and all the best to you, and I'm sure we'll have you on soon.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks so much. Great chatting with you.
Absolutely.